Hey guys, Natasha Tessier here. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad to see you. Today, I wanted to talk about what it costs to buy a home in Texas and what those hidden costs may be, just so everybody knows what to expect. So listen up. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button below and tell me where you're from. I love to hear from my clients or possible future clients and get to know you. My name's Natasha Tessier. I have 3 kids. I've been married to my husband for many, many years. We just celebrated our anniversary out in Beaver Creek. Born and raised in the great state of Texas. I love it here. We are hitting our hot season, and I always tell people you do not move here for Texas summers. You move here for the people, the economy, the culture, and the affordability. So today I wanted to go over just kind of some of the costs that are required when purchasing a home. And I'm going to do another video on building a custom home from scratch. That's what I did. One of these days, I'm going to take you through a tour of my own home. So that requires purchasing land, whether in a neighborhood or out. A lot of people like to go out because of the ag exemption, and we can talk about that in that next video. And then truly coming up with architectural plans with your builder. I have an amazing builder that I love to use, and going through that whole start to finish. It takes 18 months to 2 years, I would say, to build a nice custom home. And there are a lot of decisions, so you have to be ready for it. But today, I just want to talk about general buying a home and what it costs as far as all the different fees. So everybody's moving here from California and Washington, New York, Ohio, all over. I have clients from all over. And I think a lot of things driving people are the economy is really good in Texas. The job opportunity is great here. And then the affordability, especially people coming from like LA and New York, they're shocked at the amount of home that they can get for the price. So all that is great. And so it's very affordable to live here, but I wanted to go over all the different costs, some things that surprise people and things like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, I've talked about this many, many times before, but we don't have a state income tax. So that helps. So, let's just say you're living in, California, and you're in the 10 or 12% tax bracket. So you make $500,000, 50,000 of that is tax plus your house property tax. Here, we don't have a state income tax at all, but we do have property tax, and that can range from, I think 1.3 is the lowest I've seen it, up to say 3.3. So you want to be cautious if that is a big deal to you, and you want to be able to roll those numbers into your budget. Okay. So one big thing is property tax, no income tax, but just knowing the newer neighborhoods are going to have a higher tax rate, but it goes down over time. Like, for example, Wood Forest used to be over 3%. Now it is down to, I think, 2.4 in some areas. It depends on the school district. So, and you can't say, Fulshire has this tax rate. I know, please be cautious of other YouTubers out there. They don't know our city very well. And so if they're mispronouncing words or giving misinformation about, hey, Fulshire's tax rate is this, that's not possible to have a tax rate, because every neighborhood, are they in a mud? What school district does it go to? For example, Wood Forest is cut between Montgomery ISD and Conroe ISD. So you're talking 2 different tax rates. You can't give a generalization. Really, every neighborhood is different. So you have to go to each neighborhood. So the first thing you'd want to do is figure out how much of a home you can afford in Texas. And so, most lenders are going to do the 28% rule. And what that is you don't want to spend more than 28% of your gross, not net, but gross income on your house. And then 36, it's the 28, 36% would be on all your debt, including your housing. So you want to go through and figure out your income, and that would be monthly, what you're making and then what you could spend. And I always tell people, go under that. You don't want to overspend. You don't want to be house poor. You want to be able to, afford your mortgage and not feel stressed every single month. Plus, when you add in insurance and taxes and everything else. So that's the first thing, is just to figure out what you can afford. I have so many great lenders. They can walk you through scenarios and tell you, if you buy in this neighborhood, it's going to be this or that. One thing that is surprising is that property tax rate. So somebody will fall in love with a house and all of a sudden they'll see a high tax rate and realize that that is too high for their budget. So be cautious. There's several people that buy in the master plan communities, and what you get in those is you get a neighborhood pool, you get walking trails, you get dog parks, you get all those things. So if you don't want to have your own pool, that might be a good option for you. And a little bit, few hundred extra dollars a month on property tax is not going to kill you. So let's go through some of the hidden costs. The first thing you're gonna want to do is when you buy a house here, within 3 days of purchasing that or putting that contract on that house, you're going to owe earnest money, which is 1% of the sale. So $500,000, that's $5,000, plus option money, which is usually around $200. It can be $500, it can be $150, but usually $200, $250 is kind of standard. And that option is to have the option to purchase the house. Usually it lasts 7 days. It can last 10 days. And if you're at a bidding war, it might be 3 days, but that's your option period to go in, run an inspection. Some people are flying in at that point for me. So I've done video walkthroughs. We know this is the neighborhood they want. They think that's the house they want. They're flying in. We're doing an inspection. If during that 7 days or whatever option period we have agreed upon, you need to back out for any reason, it doesn't even have to be an inspection issue. Let's just say you've changed your mind, your job changed, whatever, you're gonna get your earnest money back. So that's gonna be 1%. So again, we were doing the 500,000, you're gonna get that $5,000 back, but you're not gonna get your option money back, or obviously any inspection fees that you paid to an inspector. So you wanna be cautious of that. That's your 7-day option period to check out the house, okay? All of that is credited to you at closing. So let's say your lender says you need $12,000 brought to the table for closing. That $5,000 plus that $200 or that $5,200 will be credited. We will get a final settlement sheet and we'll have pluses and minuses that we will go over with you. Okay, so that's one cost. And then of course you have your home inspection. Now, if you're buying pre-owned, we're gonna do that outside home inspection. I have several great inspectors. They're gonna come out. They can usually come out within 24 to 48 hours. And within 24 hours, we have a full inspection report. We can negotiate repairs. There's several ways to negotiate those repairs. So some people say, I wanna do my own repairs. I don't want them to hire the cheapest person on the street. Let's ask for $2,000 off the house or off my closing cost. And you take that $2,000 and you do your own repairs. Or we can ask for a list of repairs and say, we want the roof nailed down. We want a lot of the windows have argon gas. I've talked about this before. They're double pane. It'll leak. We want a new window pane. Whatever we're going to ask for, we can ask for those repairs with receipts prior to closing, and then go back out and check to make sure that those repairs have been made. So you're going to have the inspection cost. On a smaller home, I'd say $300. It can go up to over $1,000 for a luxury home, but I would say $300 to $500 is probably the norm. If you're doing septic, you want a septic inspection, a termite inspection. If you have a pool, I would get the pool inspected. All those things you want to get inspected so that we can negotiate and repair and make sure that everything is good when you move in. Okay, so the inspection cost is another one. After we get past that phase, we're going to move into the appraisal. So if you're a cash buyer, you're not required to get an appraisal. However, I had a cash buyer coming from the UK a few weeks ago, and I really felt like this house they loved, and it was an old model home, was overpriced. So I think she was listed at $575 or $580, I think. And we offered $540 and they said, no way. Then they countered back. We came back at $550. They said, no, we're doing it for $565. Well, I wrote into the contract, because I don't like my clients to overpay for anything. So I wrote into the contract and I said, we're going to have an outside appraisal, and we are not required to purchase the house if the outside appraiser thinks that price is less. So we hired an outside appraiser. Didn't, sway her one way or the other. She went out there, she did a full appraisal. It came in at $540. So the seller ended up having to come down quite a bit on that home to make the sale. And I know they were frustrated because when they purchased the home, It was new construction, and the builder's appraiser did the appraiser. Well, those appraisers work for the builders, and oftentimes when you have a builder's lender and a builder appraiser, all of a sudden, this is 2 years ago, that house appraised for $575, and now another outside appraiser is saying it appraises for $540. So get an outside appraisal. If you're working with a builder, that's one downside to the builder's lender and appraiser, because they kind of just roll through and say, yep, this next one sold for this, that. But I ended up saving them like $40,000 on their sale, which is pretty cool. And I wanted to protect them because they were cash. They don't have to have that appraisal, but I'm so glad that we wrote that in there and that we were able to get the price down. I knew that's what the price would be. So have a good realtor in your corner. I love to negotiate. I'm very sweet when I do it, but I'm very protective of my clients and what they're going to pay for a home. Okay, so depending on who you use for a lender, they're going to have a loan origination fee. All of them are different. I always tell my clients, please get 2 lenders side by side, okay? And look at them side by side and say, okay, let's look at these fee sheets. Sometimes the builders will say, we're offering $10,000 off closing costs, and they'll charge you $15,000 for it. Sometimes the builders say, we're offering a 4.99%, and they'll charge you for it. So we have to be able to compare 2 lenders together. I have great, honest lenders that will look at one and say, that's a really good deal, you need to take it, or actually look at these fees, we can beat it. But you will have a loan origination fee, and you will have to pay your lender. That's rolled into your closing costs. That's not an outside fee, where an inspection and your earnest money will obviously be an outside fee. Okay, the next thing is a home warranty. So it's standard in the state of Texas to ask the sellers to pay for your home warranty. It's very common. They're usually from $500 to $800. Now, again, luxury with a pool and everything else is going to be a lot higher, but I would say $500 to $800 is standard. And oftentimes in our offers, we ask for home warranties. Some people love them, they swear by them, they had them back home and they want the same home warranty, and that's great. Other people do not. They find a way to work around. So you still have to pay a $65 fee for somebody to come check the dishwasher. And then they say, oh, well, this was already happening before you purchased the house, and they don't do anything. So half my clients love them, half my clients don't think they're worth it, but it is standard to ask for that in a closing. So if that's something you want, we can ask the sellers to pay for that. Okay, so something else to think about are insurance rates. I've heard from some people that our insurance rates are lower. I've heard they're higher. I'll be honest, I have been with USAA for many, many years. And when we built this home, I don't know why, but their insurance was double Liberty Mutual is who I ended up going with. So I have a great insurance guy. He will go through, actually I have a guy and a girl, and both of them will only go through A-rated insurance. So you're not getting a one-off company that's not going to take care of you. But I still have all my car insurance and everything with USAA, but I ended up having to switch off because they could not compete. And I'm talking $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 a year difference. I mean, it was big. So I ended up having to switch to Liberty Mutual. But that is another cost when you're thinking about, so you want to, like when you're doing that 28% rule, you don't want to just do your mortgage. You want to do your homeowner's insurance, your HOA. I'll talk about that in a second. And then obviously your mortgage, and if you have private mortgage insurance, all the different fees loaded into there, and then obviously your property taxes. So you want to just get that whole number together and be realistic about what you can afford. Most people like to talk to a lender before they even come here, because you'll go fall in love with a home and you'll realize, oh my gosh, like that's out of budget. So you really want to be realistic about what you can afford. Some of my clients, especially luxury, are going to require a pre-approval before we even show the home, or proof of funds if you're paying cash. I can't even get you into those homes without a pre-approval. Okay, the last fee that you want to talk about are HOA dues. I think $100 or $110 monthly is the average in the state of Texas. I would say that's pretty common, about $100 a month. Some neighborhoods don't offer, any amenities, and they're just kind of an older neighborhood, and they may not have it might be $300. Some might be $1,800 like Audubon, because they mow the front and they take care of the whole front lawn for you. This is annually. A lot of my LA clients think that that's monthly, that's annually. So it's really not a huge expense, but your HOAs, I would say standard 12, 1300, but some, like I said, are more and some are less. So you want to take that into account. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. There are a lot of hidden costs and things you want to protect yourself on. The biggest thing is make sure you get an agent who knows what they're doing and how to protect you. I would say that's my biggest asset, is just being able to protect my clients from the biggest purchase and knowing the neighborhoods and where to go. If you want to talk, we can talk on the phone, we can do a Zoom, however you want to work it. And then we sign a buyer's rep that just states that you want me to help you if you buy your home in the state of Texas. If you end up not buying, no big deal. And then we can go out together and look at homes. I would love to help you with your move to Texas. Please reach out anytime, and I hope you have a blessed day.